Let's go now. Anti-De-Bugian period, something like that. Something like that. I don't know why I can't push this. I also don't know why it's not drawing. These things may be related. Maybe not, though. Like, in the editor, the level's way over here. Why is that? That's X11. So why is the camera... See, when I try to move it, it's wrapping to there. Why? Why are you wrapping here? This is not really editable. What if I do the following thing? Still says corner is 9. Why? What's going on there? What do I think about using meters and newtons in games? Who cares? Who cares? I think you should ask Isaac Newton's permission if you want to use him in a game. That's only common sense. Pixel art fonts look so bad. True. True. No lie detected. Okay, why the fuck? All right. So here we have a thing where the per screen camera corner is on a wrapping level. I mean, what happens if I do this? It looks the same. So we're supposed to... There's two bugs. One is I can't push this thing. And the other is we're not drawing these guys to the left or south, except for when I'm walking to them. Like, supposedly at all times when things are wrapping, we draw a 3x3 around the thing. So the question is, what the hell is going on there? Okay, what about in the editor? See, that is drawing correctly. Like, this is how it should look. So why doesn't it look that way in the game? We're drawing x plus 1 and y plus 1. And no, like, there's no 50 DKP minus here, and that's bad. So I don't know where we set this up. Let's see. Get world wrapping offsets, 3071. Okay, well, that's not it. Is this a different draw? What is this? Okay, this is like some lighting thing. But we must be calling this elsewhere. Vertex colors. Okay, I don't know. We are calling this from start frame in another file. Okay. Let's just see what we return. Wrapping offsets. Dude, fucking C++, dude. So we have 4. That is not right. We need the full 9 here. So what is happening? Cool. If we're wrapping, I guess maybe this code. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we don't ever do both. So wait, we have wrapping override. And we just don't use that in this case. Where even is that? So in theory, I could set this. Now we're still not going to work because we're not using it. But we can go to that code. Okay. Wait, what version did I just do? 24. Well, this is just how gameplay code is sometimes. I might as well do the ifx version because it works regardless of the type. Okay, so all right. I don't think this has anything to do with why I can't push things. Okay, settings, camera, force wrapping override. That's still set. Hey, look! I mean, it's still got problems, but it's better. Okay. Now, doesn't this look just a lot better than what it literally just was? So now, why the fuck can't I push anything? Wait, oh, this guy can't push. Yeah, she could push, though. See, look, they're both bumping. Why are they both bumping? But then other times they don't both bump. Okay, well, now we debug this. What is your problem, lady? We will find out. We're not even running in the debugger yet. Oops. All right. Why? Let's just see what the return is from here. So the result probably says false. No, it says true. Okay, so our pushes is going to have too many things, and we're going to decide that's too heavy. Yeah, our pushes has two things in it, which is probably both of those beamer boppers. Let's see. Pushes dot data comma 2 2 2. Okay. Move info. Start position 16.9 to 15.9. Okay, I'm pushing it left. Great. Move info. Start position 10.8 to 9. How? What? I mean, that's where that object is. But okay, entity ID. Where's the entity ID? 44873. These should be different and distinct. I'm sure they are, but I'm just trying to think of random. Wait, 44873. Do we have two? No, okay, never mind. I was looking at the bottom one. Okay, so that's fine. Well, I just want to see how we get those pushes. Because maybe they have the same proximity grid square or something. I don't know. Find at position. Target position is 10-8. Is that where she is? It's believable. Oh yeah, so the 15 one is obviously the one on the right. So the other one, the one at x equals 9, is the one we're actually trying to push. Okay, what did we find? 3 things. Interesting. What are the 3 things? I wish I had a better way to inspect this. We have something at 16.9. Okay, so already this is fucked. Because we shouldn't be seeing something at x equals 16 in a query at x equals 9. Now it's sus that the y coordinate is 9, or the y coordinates are... Okay, target is x equals 10. So this thing is at x equals 10. This thing's at x equals 10. What are these 2 things at x equals 10? Type info struct spawner. Okay, that makes sense, right? Spawner is this thing that's under, you see the little white frame? That's what that is. And then the other thing is going to be the beam projector, which is called promised light. Yep. Okay, so I kind of suspected this was the problem, but it is. The problem is that for some reason, this other guy is in our same proximity grid. Now, the way these are getting added is through like some spawner logic. Here's what confuses me. We're pushing this guy around. So we're detecting him just fine in his own proximity grid square. So the problem is he is also in a square where he's not supposed to be. Like a residual little goofball. And then when we get rid of him, we can push the other thing. Which is weird because if we have a leaked proximity grid entry, wait, and then I reset the level and it's fine? Shift reset. Okay, shift reset, it's not fine. Reset, it's not fine. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, well, I can put a breakpoint in add to grid when we add these guys. and just see if I can elucidate what is going on. Okay, there's a whole lot of funny business happening with these, by the way, because what's actually going on. Okay, guys, this is informative. So what's actually going on? Let me turn this back to sane mode. Um, See these things up here? These are like living in hyperspace. They're not really in the game level. And you pick between them, like which one that you want. And now this one, though, it so happens, it sure looks to me, it's at the coordinates of the thing that's stuck, right? So, like, are these getting fucking proximity gridded? Okay, that didn't help. Oh, it did, though. Look. Now we have extra jams. Wait. Oh, I can't push this up because it's there. Yeah. So that's what's going on. Is we're adding these guys to the... I bet they're all in the fucking grid, right? So, like... Oops. No, don't do that. Yeah, see, I pushed one north. Oh, God. Okay, so... We need to ask... All right. Proximity grid. Add to grid. If e.entity type is promised light, no check-in. All right. New puzzle type, invisible blocks. Yeah, it sounds like a great game, doesn't it? Invisible blocks. Okay. I didn't run from the debugger. Okay, let's ignore this for a bit. We want this happening at a totally known time. So we're going to finish booting up. Because like we could be loading the editor, we get like all sorts of things. So I'm going to reset. Boom. Now. Post load entities. Yeah. So all right. We shouldn't. There's an extra check we need. We need to ask if something currently exists, which is not a concept that made sense when this code was written. We're just going to do this. In fact, we're going to put this in several places in this function. Okay. Invisible blocks. All right. Oops. Don't just run straight out of the level. Okay, well that didn't fucking help. Do you know why it didn't fucking help? because the things aren't marked as not existing until after this time, right? Right. Let's just, before we ass out of you and me, let's just verify that this is working, okay? Um, okay, this is going to be an integer. And after this, we're going to go game report tprint lights exist. Uh, Always the best idea. Yeah. Yeah. 7 exist. Okay, that's a very weird number. Because it's more than we should have, but there's more than 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 7 up there. Oh, because we spawn the ones. Yeah. All right. So where do we decide about existence groups? Do existence group unexistings. It's right fucking here. So why do we think that these exists? Also, okay, I think the actual problem is that these are falling into the world as well. Like if I just actually put a floor under them. Okay, let's make it invisible. Okay, I regret everything. Hey, oh, no, it's still... So it's weird because those should be in the air. I guess I didn't check the Z coordinate back when we were debugging. Several problems with what's happening here. Um, so I want to see why currently exists. So we move this. This is now counting the wrong thing. It's counting them all, but we know they all are counted as existing anyway. Actually, let's not do that yet. I could have used that breakpoint actually. Okay. So when we do this reset, okay. It's not flagged as being in existence group. Who does that? That's in groups. Change existence group status. Okay, let's see when that... I'm sure that gets called at startup, and my suspicion is it gets called too late for what we want. Group status. Who doesn't want some group status? Okay, it's literally not happening. There sure are a lot of fucking calls to this for none of them to be happening. This is literally what's supposed to do it. That is the code. Okay. And then down here we ask if they exist. So what is going on? Okay. If spawner morph Oh, these aren't an existence group. Okay. This is so confusing. I knew I should have cleaned this up a long time ago. Currently exists is not the only thing we need to check. What is the other thing? Currently exists. We need to check this fucking spawner morph flag. See, you should always make your code good. And when you don't make your code good, you then spend an hour figuring out why it's not good. Right? This fucking thing. So I introduced this concept first, then later this came along, and they're different things. But actually, most people want to know both. And yeah, okay. So now we're going to put this down there. Dude, I can't believe I wasted that long. I can believe I wasted that long. It's made worse by the fact that, like, you know, I did all this like 6 or 8 months ago. I don't remember any of it. You know how much I do in 8 months? It's like lifetimes of programming ago. How did that not fix it? Because this isn't fucking flagged yet. Oh, fuck. Oh, wait. Okay, here's what we could do. Like, I feel like we have changed the behavior slightly for the better. But there's still problems. Okay. We're adding a spawner morph entity to the grid, which we shouldn't do. See, we turn off the flat. This is where code sucks. It's like I want to assert that we don't accidentally add one of these invisible guys. This flag means it's invisible guy. But we clone and add it to the grid, and then we turn off the fucking flag. So what do we do here? I could add more hack. Let's just, instead of having it be an assert, we could have it be a breakpoint. Look, it's right next to our other breakpoint. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna wait till we load again. Okay. Okay, so this is from low level init spawner entity. So is this. Those should be the only two. Okay. Then how do we have these other things? And why? Okay, you know what it is? I don't think it's that we're actually hitting the invisible entity somehow, because that wouldn't cause these guys. It's that when we clone them, the position isn't updated yet. And then we update the position, right? So here we're doing clone and register. Yeah, this guy's up in the air. And we're calling add to grid at those coordinates, okay? This is, dude, also, I've had this fucking bug. It's just been a really long time since I've had it with other things, but so we're saying clone and register. There's a okay, so one of the pieces of confusion is that this function gets called both during gameplay and at startup. And so when it's talking about don't turn off invisible till after it teleports, that's like a different thing. Okay, see, this is our, yeah, all right. All right. Remove from grid. No check-in, explain. Explain in the membrane. Explain in the membrane. Reset. Hey, look, it works. That was a one-line fix that took a long time. Yeah. Just this has been a mildly janky part of the game the whole time. It's just fundamentally messy. You say clone. Okay, that shouldn't really happen. But that might be from the other stuff we just did. Okay, hold on. Let's remove these no check-ins. Let's actually remove these because they didn't help. We could bring those back later if they actually help. But I think I want to refactor at some point soon these concepts because they're confusing. But it's, you know, it's hard to know because when you first introduce them, you don't know how they're going to go, and so it's maybe too early to refactor them. Yeah, so that guy didn't get added to the grid because he has spawner morph set, but I think for him that fucking means something different, and like it's got to get cleaned up. Okay, so well, everybody, let me make a cleanup note here. Clean up. We have this fundamentally messy thing where low level init spawner entity clones an entity And that cloning function always puts the result into the proximity grid, and there's no way to say, no way to indicate the actual new position of the entity. This seems dumb. Either we should explicitly pass the target position, or we should simply not add the entity to the grid in that function. But because we do that, now we have to remove and re-add it to the grid. This probably happens in a few other places in the code. At least it's confusing and causes bugs. Okay, now I know why I need to do this manually. See, this comment went in here. This, I'm not sure why I need to do this manually. That went in there because the game wasn't working at some, I don't remember this exactly, but it was like the game wasn't working. I was walking through objects and I'm like, oh, it must not be in the grid. I'm going to add it to the grid. It was in the grid. It was just in the grid at the wrong place. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't sufficiently investigate what was wrong at that time. Okay. That is probably everything I wanted to fix this morning. And we got it done in less than an hour. Oh, I should record a test for this level. Oh, hold on. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do we have other no check-ins? Not that matter. Okay, so we'll record a test for this level if I can figure it out. What's in the grid? I think it's IDs. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so much better than it was. All right, so both gem sockets must be used, which means one of these light holios. So one's got to be a green beam. One's got to be a strong beam, probably. Actually, we could have this be green beam. Could have this be strong beam. Which one's strong beam? I think it's that one. I don't actually remember. I hope it's that one. Something like that. Okay, is this actually strong beam? Or is it the other one? Yes, it is. Okay. That's bad. That's bad what I did. This level isn't honestly that good, but we needed to make it work. What if we do green beam in the back? Wait, that's what we had. I don't know why I don't just do this. And then... No, you know what? I could use the sign. Like, I feel like it wants me to use the sign to block the beam. I feel like that is what this level maybe has in mind. All right. And then... It's just... I mean, this isn't very good of a level, I guess. Let me verify. Yeah, that blocks. So we do that. We go there. We go there and out. It's fine. It's the level needs to be better, but we did it. We really should run a little Benny test before this check-in, but we're going to do it after the check-in because that's the way I am. Let's not check these in. Okay. Dude. Oh no, I forgot we did one of these big entity check-ins. We might have conflicts. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Ice cream when? I've been thinking about ice cream, but you know, I deserve ice cream. That's the executive decision while this is happening. Look at all the entities. Look at all those chickens. Can't wait to play Sokoban. I can't wait for all these entities to be done downloading. This is kind of what I had wanted to avoid. This is part of game development, though, right here. Video game. Why only 500k per second? Because it's a fucking source control system. Try doing this in Unity. Okay? Try downloading, I don't know how many files this is. It's probably at least 300,000. Try downloading 300,000 files in the Unity asset control system and get back to me. I was all ready to take the W, and I can't do it yet. Sometimes GitHub is just down. Great. Yeah. Let's outsource a critical piece of our infrastructure to somebody who just might not want to run the server today. I mean, I'm not dissing on Lunark for that because, like, a large number of people in the world seem to have decided that that's a good idea. Am I still looking for devs for the compiler or Sokoban? I mean, let me be honest. When somebody asks, are you still looking for devs? That sounds like a low skill Hacker News person who could kind of barely program in Python. Like, no offense, you might be amazing, but like, that's the kind of way that things are phrased in this community of people who can't really program. So I'm just going to lay that out there. Just going to lay that out there. You can't just, you know, you can't just go from like HTML to sitting down and making a game engine. I mean, you can actually. The secret is you actually can, but few people pull it off. Look at all these files, though. Check out all these files. Maybe he meant devs the series, maybe. I mean, like, okay, first of all, even just ignoring the devs part of the question, the compiler and the game are really different, okay? And different roles on the game are really different. Being a gameplay programmer on the game is really different from being like a graphics programmer on the game. Super different. And so if you just say like, hey, are you looking for programmers for the compiler or the game? That kind of indicates a lack of awareness that these are very different things. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just, are you looking for a programmer for the game? It's like, what what kind of programming are you talking about? Maybe he's just that good. Maybe it's possible, but I'm just saying, this ice cream's good. I see. Anyway, so the deal is we're not really hiring right now anyway for programmers. We might be maybe around the end of the year or in January. We just don't have a ton of money right now. Otherwise, we might hire for the compiler. Use some color like vector 4, whatever, and the render target is sRGB format. Does it mean it will turn out brighter than you intended had the library not... What? Brighter than what? sRGB format as opposed to what? Sure, I'm glad we have all these files. When you say vector 4, it's usually in linear RGB. Linear? No. Almost all graphics colors in the history of graphics have been nonlinear, okay? So when you pick RGB colors in Photoshop in a bitmap, those are sRGB or what like sRGB was an officially formalized thing that's kind of recent, but they were approximately the same thing before that. Nobody started using light linear colors until like 2010. And they're only used for certain things. You still wouldn't use them for drawing bitmaps. Any like 2D bitmap graphics drawing library is drawing in sRGB. Like that's just what it is. God damn it. What? Why am I still downloading? You think the color code reported by the Photoshop picker is linear? No, it isn't. When you see a web color, let's put it that way. When you see a web color that's hash FFCC40, that is not linear. None of that shit is linear. All right, so we downloaded. I got it pretty close. 286,000 files. Lab color space tries to be. No, there are two lab color spaces. There's lab star and lab not star, and one of them is linear and the other one is not. And I forget which is which. Now I'm just waiting for this to be done. You thought when you say vector 4.5.5.5, it should be mid-gray. Okay, but what does mid-gray mean? What does 50% brightness mean? I don't know why it's sitting here not done. It's very annoying. Let's just make sure our level is okay. Now you have HDR. Right. Well, oh, fuck. Fucking. See, if this would finish doing its shit, I could find the conflict. Like, this is just doing some fucking Microsoft UI. I don't even know what. Okay, so my problem is we bumped the entity revision numbers while I was fucking editing things. Conflicted. Let's just revert the settings, and because that part is easy. Still going. Just fuck off, dude. Stop. Like, why do people think it's okay for software to do that? All right, so we go back here. We load our thing. Let's actually change the color of this a little bit. We go to settings, select all. Okay, hold on. Okay. Should hopefully be okay. Camera, force, boom, 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 boom. Save, restart. Okay, test. It didn't work for some reason. Oh, okay. All right. Subversion's usually not that bad. I don't know why it was so bad in that case. Maybe it was just the downloading 300,000 files. Usually it's mostly fine. It is not ideal, however. Not ideal. Is that the one? Yeah, we don't check in that. We don't check in that. Okay. Now I'm going to run a Benny test. But we might end the stream before it's done, because it's maybe eventually I'll go about my day. It's because it's constantly destroying and recreating text label widget. Yeah, I mean, it's something like that, right? It's probably not even destroying and recreating the widget. It's probably, you know, calling the layout function on the parent widget or something, and it's going to 300,000 sub widgets and calling all kinds of generic object functions. If you look at linear gradient, the 0.5 is the color in the middle, that's what you mean. Right, but what does that mean? Whereas in sRGB space, that color would be represented by a larger... No, you're being confused about what sRGB means, I think. Okay. Like, So, all sRGB is it's a formalization with small tweaks of what computer monitors were already doing, right? It was like everyone's making these monitors, they have slightly different specs. It's causing a little bit of a problem. Let's just define what this is, okay? It's just RGB colors. sRGB is a slightly newer, more specific name for RGB colors, okay? So when you say my color is 127, 255, 0, that's an sRGB color, or rather, those numbers mean a specific color in sRGB space, okay? So when you say 0.5, of course, you can say 0 to 255, whatever, you could say floating point numbers. When you say 0.5, that is an sRGB color. Like, that's fine. You're also talking about, at the same time, gamma correction into light linear space, which is a different thing. Okay? And that is also an issue regardless of what is the color space that you're using that is not light linear, okay? The gamma that is being discussed here, for example, in the Wikipedia article, this gamma of 2.2 is the power that you use to go from, linear light to non-linear sRGB. That is nothing new. All monitors have done this, and computers have done this since the home computer days. However, they did it in a slightly non-standard way that didn't match each other. And then especially like Macs were like extra dark because their gamma was like 1.7 instead of 2.2, if I remember correctly. Okay? But this is all just what computers have been doing since they drew to displays. Okay. For the human eye, half the number of photons emitted per second is not perceived as half as bright. Yes, that is the core issue, right? The core issue is that if you use your 0, 255, 127 color to control the number of photons emitted, that's not going to give you very good results because you waste a lot of your numeric range on things that are very dark. And then you don't have very much range for the rest of the color space, which is why these things are gamma corrected. They're gamma corrected so that numbers that you would use give you an approximately equal representation across perceptual brightness, okay? That's why I was asking, when I said, what do you mean half as bright? I was trying to invoke some kind of question about, are we talking about perceptual brightness or are we talking about number of photons? Those are two different things. The reason you convert to light linear, though, is because when you're doing things that involve physics, you kind of want to talk about the number of photons, right? So if you're averaging colors together or whatever, physically, then the brightness result will be very different if you do it in linear space versus a gamma corrected space, right? But when you just specify colors, like you just write down colors or you look at colors in a color picker, all of that's gamma corrected. All of it. sRGB is RGB with gamma correction? No. sRGB is RGB. S stands for standard. sRGB is just RGB. It's the same thing. Don't let the graphs and the curves fool you. It's the same thing. What is the graphics API doing when you specify these sRGB formats? It depends. It depends on what the API is and what you're doing. If you're just, okay, so in the example that you gave, which is that you have a vector 4 with some colors in it, right? I mean, the answer now is it depends on what your shaders do and stuff. But if you imagine you have like an OpenGL fixed function pipeline, which these days is pretending to be fixed function pipeline, is really putting in some shaders, right? Then what's probably happening is it's literally putting, like if you put 0.5s in your vector and then you write that to the back buffer, you get 0.5s in the back buffer unless, so modern game engines will not do that because they want to work in linear light space. But if you're just drawing bitmaps or whatever, you probably are putting 0.5s into the back buffer, right? Now, what does that mean? It depends on what happens when the back buffer gets displayed. Again, if you have naive, simple, fixed function kind of things, then those 0.5s get approximately converted to 0.5 perceptual color, right? Yeah, people don't seem to, like, when you try to read about this stuff, it is often more confusing than it needs to be, right? And especially when you try to relate it to what you know about computers. People are not very good at explaining things, right? Doesn't seem confusing. It gets confusing sometimes. In fact, I'm pretty sure, so somebody reported a bug in the GetRect color picker where I did the gamma in the wrong direction. And I don't think I've actually fixed that. So let's go take a look at that since it's topical. Color animation editor. Don't allow deleting. What? Okay, someone's going to get an email about this. What do you mean isn't really helpful? Oh, you mean the last keyframe as in down to 0. I thought I would have tested that. I thought, okay, never mind. I thought he meant the last one in order, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at this. Remember when we did this? So we do. Yeah, I think I screwed up, and it's supposed to be to go to linear. You do pow to gamma, and you go 1 over gamma on this end, right? See, it's easy to mess up. Let's see what the results look like. Okay. So this is like our default interpolation, which honestly doesn't look bad, but may be wrong. In fact, let's screenshot it. As it comes up, this is what it looks like. P brush. All right. So gamma is 2.2. That's what it looks like with the other gamma. Now you'll note the brighter color has more influence, right? That's pretty different looking. Pretty different looking. The one on the top looks more colorful and pretty to me, but it also looks less like a straightforward interpolation. Like this is supposed to be an interpolation between orange, white, and this violet color, right? And this looks less like that kind of interpolation, and this looks more like it. Now that said, it also looks more boring. Is there something to be said for being less boring by default? Maybe. Okay. So I mean, it looks good. Dude, there's hardly any difference between these interpolations at this point. Anyhow, what does full opposite on color wheel look like? Well, I mean, this is pretty looking right here. So opposite would be, for example, red to cyan, right? We could do that. Red to cyan. So we're going like right through some gray in the middle. I mean, that looks plausible to me. RGB, HSV. HSV, we're going around the color wheel. So like, that's why that looks like that. OK Lab. OK Lab, a little less gray and drab than RGB for this. I kind of like the quadric interpolation, really. I mean, it's not that different. The opposite of red is green, apparently. Well, no, red and green are orthogonal. We can do red to green if you want. Looks nice, though, right? I mean, hopefully this is the correct thing. I mean, really, it's... Yeah. POW X 2.2 is to linear. Yes, that's correct. And the way you can visualize it is, if you think about, you just have a straight line going from 0, 0 to 1, 1, right? It's a 45-degree. It's the identity function, right? Mapping y to x. And then if you raise that to power 2.2, you should know what that looks like from school. It turns it into a parabola, right? And that parabola goes below. So if you have this diagonal line, the parabola goes below it. And what that means is more of your values are down in the dark zone, right? Which is what it means to do linear light stuff. Remember what we said about your values not... When you're in light linear, if you have a small range of values, they're disproportionately in the dark zone. And so that's just kind of how you can remind yourself that you're going the right direction, right? If you go to the power of 1 over 2.2, then you go above the line, right? And you get brighter. Okay. Let's fix it in... Oh, no. Okay, that is going to be the stream for now, I think. Thanks, everybody. Purple. Oh, wait, we got a request for purple to lime. Why do you want purple to lime? What counts as purple? Purple is not really a color. I mean... What's lime? Lime is like there. I feel like there's a meme that I don't know what it is. All right. Does your shader for drawing these things do anything with the colors? If you mean for this color interpolation thing, the shader doesn't do anything with the colors. Yeah, we're converting to linear and back just for interpolation purposes. Yeah. Heard there was a stark difference in color output between PS3 and Xbox 360. That sounds familiar. I don't remember exactly the details. I didn't really do PS3 ever, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But yeah, like that was typical of those days. Like these things are more standardized now than they were back then. What format is used for the frame buffer when you draw these? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Probably RGB 8-bit, you know, something like that. Convert to linear, you interpolate and undo gamma correction, then draw. Yes, yes, that is exactly what's happening in this program. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off. Have a good day. It's just morning time here, so there's plenty of day ahead. See y'all later.